So in today's video for WordPress, I'm going to answer one of those commonly asked questions about having a WooCommerce store. How can I customize the shop pages? So today I'm going to answer that question. So let's just jump into the WordPress dashboard and take a look at how we can start making some modifications to our WooCommerce store. So one of the most important things when you're looking to create an online shop that gives you flexibility is choosing the right theme. Now for this example, we're going to be using Astra, which gives us a ton of options that allow us to control and customize the WooCommerce layouts. So let's just jump into the dashboard and take a look at what's on offer. So I'll jump in, and what we're going to do is we're going to come down to the Appearance tab. We're going to choose Customize. Once you open that up, it's going to open up the customizer and give us the options for the Astra theme. Now next up, let's just jump out to our shop page so we can see what we're going to start editing. So this is the default layout for the Astra theme. What we're going to do is we're going to come down to the layout option, and in there you can see we've got an entry specifically for WooCommerce. If we click in there, we've got things broken down to 5 distinct sections: General, Shop, Single Product, Cart Page, and Checkout. Each of these allows us to customize and tweak various different elements of the WooCommerce process. So general are overall sort of settings for WooCommerce right the way throughout all the different pages. So you can see we have sale notification, and if we take a look on the right hand side, you can see I've got a sale icon there. I can change that over to none, so nothing will show up in there. I can change it over to default, which will show sale, for example, or I can go in and put a custom string in there if I want to dictate exactly what's going to be displayed. And on top of that, I've got options for the actual bubble style itself. We can also go through and set up what icon is going to be used for the cart if we've got that set up and displayed, and including things like the total and whether we display the title at all. So they're pretty basic alterations we can make to the layout. What we're more interested in is the shop and single product sections. So the shop is the listing you can see in front of us, which will show us either the categories or the different products under a group category. And the single product is when you click through and actually take a look at a product itself. So let's take a look first of all at the shop section and what we can do in there. If we come into the shop, you can see we've got a range of different options that allow us to really get in and start to configure and customize the layout. We can choose between a horizontal and vertical, or a grid and a list view. So you can see at the moment we're using the grid view. If we click on list, you can see that will now show things slightly differently, and we can then go through and customize the way that's displayed. So we do it to things like just one column. You can see we've got a big image with some basic information on the right hand side. We can customize the number that are going to be displayed in there very simply. We can customize the number of products that will be displayed, and also the product image hover style. So you can see at the moment it does nothing, but we can go and do things like swap image, fade, zoom, zoom fade, and so on. So if we choose something like zoom fade, let it refresh the page. When we mouse over, you can see it zooms into the picture and fades it out slightly. So you can quickly come into this and just start to customize things. So let's just do that. Let's go through and take a practical example. So we'll set this to 4. 12 products per page is fine. Zoom fade is also fine. You can see then we've got options to display the page title, so we can enable or disable that if we want to. We've got through things like display breadcrumbs. Again, we can get rid of that if we want to, and we can even get rid of the toolbar. So if you've only got a couple of products and you want them to be displayed as it's laid out here, and you don't want people to sort of filter or sort things, you can easily disable that to streamline the look of your page. You then have options for what information is going to be displayed for each of the products. You can see we've got category, title, ratings, and so on, and short description is currently disabled. If we enable that just by clicking on the eye icon, that'll open up the short description that's associated with that product. Now at the moment that looks a bit silly because we have a ton of information on small products. But if we jump back up to this and change the actual style over to dealing with the list view, you can see it now makes a lot more sense. We'll set it to 1 column. We now have a nice big image on the left hand side, the short description and the add to cart and so on in the right hand side. We can also come in and adjust the order of any of these particular blocks. So you can see category and title, ratings and so on are all listed. Let's just say, for example, we wanted to move the add to cart to below the description. Well, we can simply drag that and drop it underneath. It'll refresh, and now we start to adjust the actual look of things. We can also adjust the things like the alignment on this. So if we want to set things to left or right, we can do that. So if you're dealing with something like an RTL website, a right to left website, you could easily just adjust the alignment for the description, so it kind of makes a lot more sense. In this context, probably not so much so. We've then got things like box shadows and box hover shadows. We can adjust that. The button, you can see we've got vertical padding. So if we want to adjust things on there, we can easily come in and set some values in there. And that, as you can see, will adjust the overall look of the button itself. We've also got things like the pagination. So if you have multiple products, at the moment we only have 4 displayed, but we can control the actual pagination, and we have some options for number, and we have infinite scroll. So if you do have lots of products, you can scroll down, and like it does in Facebook, as it gets towards the bottom of that list, it'll automatically start to load in the next range of products. So that's pretty cool. Then we can go through the other shop pagination styles. So if you choose number, for example, you'll have options to style and control the way that looks. And we've also got quick view. So at the moment, nothing is happening. But if we enable that, and you can see we've got different options for how we enable it. Let's just say we'll do on image. We come back over, and you can see now we get the option at the bottom of that. In conjunction with that zoom and fade effect, we can now click quick view, and that'll open up a quick view of the product that we're looking at. So you can see the descriptions there, the image, the add to cart, and so on, which I think is a pretty nice add-on, a nice feature. So continuing on down the options we've got on the left-hand side, you can see we have off-canvas sidebar. Now, what that does is it allows us to open up a sidebar on the left-hand side of the site, and it's hidden by default. We can use a button or different thing on there to actually trigger it, and then we can put things like search filters or anything that you want to use to allow people to navigate around your shop just a little easier. Now we'll jump back and take a look at how we can set up what's included in that later in the video, but just to activate it and just to show you how it works, at the moment it's currently disabled. If I click, you can see we've got 4 options: disable link button and custom class. Let's just choose something like button. What will happen then is you can see we get a filter button at the top of our product listing. We can click on there, and that'll open up this off-canvas filter on the left-hand side. So I say at the moment there's nothing in there, but we can put our own widgets in there that'll populate that with the specific search filters and the methods we want to allow people to filter around our shop from within this section. The nice thing with this is it means it streamlines your interface and gives you a nice easy way of giving more search functionality without it constantly taking up real estate on your site. So like I say, we'll jump back in and take a look at that later, but for now you can see how easy it is to add that in there. You can see we've got option for like display active filters. We can enable and disable that, and again we'll just leave that checked for now. Then we've got the shop archive content width, which is set to default. Now if we want to, we can set that to a custom value, so we can control the actual width of our page. So you can see at the moment it's set to 1200 pixels. Now obviously this will adjust depending upon the device you're looking at. So when you're on mobile views it'll be smaller, when you're on a tablet view it'll be different again. This is kind of the default width for sort of desktop. So you can see if we want to, we can make this smaller or we can make it larger. We've got plenty of control over there to make sure it fits into the exact design that we want. If we want to reset it, we just click this little arrow and it'll put it back to the default value of 1200. So that's the basic options we have available to us inside the actual page itself. So we've gone through and taken a look at how we can customize the actual shop product page. We'll now look at how we can customize the individual product pages. But this gives you a great amount of control over customizing the way that your product page or your shop page looks. Okay, so I've jumped into the single product page, and as you can see, this is the default kind of look, which looks very similar to what you'd normally expect to see with a standard WooCommerce page. At the moment it's set up so we've got a right column, even though there's nothing in there, and you can see we've got the image with the zoom effect, our short description, add to cart, and so on. Pretty standard. But we can go in and customize this if we want to. Let's first of all get rid of this column on the right hand side. So let's jump back out of all of this and come back into my actual site itself. If I come down into Sidebar, you can see at the moment the default layout for all the different sections is to have a right sidebar. Well, I'm going to set that to be no sidebar. That'll get rid of that. We now have a full width page. Let's come back in and let's just go back in and start editing out a single page again. So you can see there are various different options that look very similar to the actual shop page itself, but we can go through and we can customize various different options to get a more bespoke, more unique looking layout. So you can see we've got the option for the gallery layout. At the moment there are no gallery images in this particular product, but if I come back out of here, go back to the shop and open one that does have multiple images with the product, we'll see how that actually looks. So as you can see, we've got the images placed below the main feature image. We can change that if we want to. We can set that to be vertical, so it'll put it to the side of our product page or our product image, or we can put it, like I say, to horizontal. We've also got then control over the image width. Now at the moment it's set to 50%, but we can make the image much more prominent if we want to by simply dragging that over. so the image becomes the main focal point of the product page. Then we've got the short description and the breadcrumbs and so on down on the right hand side, and we've got our different images placed below. So already just by using those options we get much more control over creating a bit more of a complex, a bit more bespoke page. We then have the option to disable or enable breadcrumbs. So if we do that, you can see we can just disable those, get rid of those. Again, this is one of those things that if you've got an online shop that only has a couple of products, the breadcrumbs probably isn't too much of an issue. Obviously you've got hundreds of products, it makes navigating around for the end user considerably easier. Now, as before, you can see we've got the option for the structure of the page and the title, ratings, and so on. These are all the kind of elements you have listed down here on the right-hand side. So we can enable or disable those out of our heart's content. We can also reorder those quite easily. So we might want to sort of say we want to put the price towards the bottom, above the add to cart. Well, we can easily do that by simply dragging that down into the order that we want. Now, something that would be nice to see in future is the ability to stack these and set them to be a percentage value. So let's just say, for example, we wanted to have the price to the left-hand side of the add to cart and the quantity. It'd be nice to sort of be able to set that to be sort of 30%, 70%, and it would allow it to sort of slot in line, like you sort of can with the various different form elements inside Elementor. That would be something that would be good to see. So if the Astra developers are listening to this, please consider adding something like that in further down the line. So, easily be able to reposition, turn any of these on and off. So we want to get rid of the short description, we can do that. Or get rid of the ratings, we can do that. Full control, very easy. Enable the Ajax add to cart. If we do that, that'll basically just add the product to the cart without opening up the shopping cart page or without having to do anything to refresh the page. It'll just do it all kind of behind the scenes. We also got to enable the image zoom effect. Now, this is one of those things that when they brought this into WooCommerce, it's one of the things that annoys the living daylights out of me. I hate the fact that this kind of zooms around. Well, with Astra, we can just disable that with a click. That's now gone. Thank you for that. That's much appreciated. We also have product navigation. Now, product navigation is disabled by default, but what it does is it allows you, instead of having to go back out of this or clicking on another product to look at, you can simply go through them in order, either forwards or backwards. So we click on that, you can see we've got some options for how it's styled. So let's just say a circle outline. Once you do that, you can see we now have these options to go forwards and backwards to the next and previous product. So a nice little tip there for allowing users to sort of just step through the different products in a quick and easy way. If we scroll down, you can see we've got these related products, which currently look a little bit odd because we've got this entire big long description down underneath it. I'll show you how to get rid of that in a couple of moments, but for now, let's take a look at what we've got. You can see we've got the option for the layout for the related and upsell products. If we want to display those, we can enable or disable that. So again, if we want to keep it a nice clean interface, we don't have related products, we just don't want to display it, you can disable that if you want to. You can also display upsell. So if you set this up in WooCommerce to upsell products that are related to what the viewer is looking at or the site user is looking at, you can enable that and you can configure exactly how many products are going to be displayed in here. So let's put those back on. You can see we've got the option then for the number of columns that are going to be displayed and also the number of related products. So let's just set that to 3 as well. Now, this is kind of a weird one for me with the Astra theme. It puts this description in for the related products, which doesn't really make a lot of sense if you ask me. So let's look at how we can get rid of that. So we come back out of this, just jump back and we go into the shop section. What we need to do is come down and get rid of that short description. And once you do that, that'll remove that extra information from the bottom of our related products. So we can jump back out of this and just come back into our single product page. You can see we now have a much better looking layout. So as you can see, just by using these simple options, we can quickly and easily come in and change the look and the layout for our shop pages by using Astra. We're not just limited to the shop pages though, or these product pages and the listing pages. We can also go in and edit and adjust things along the lines of the cart page and the checkout page. So let's take a look at what options we have inside the cart page and checkout page sections. So we jump to the cart page, you can see we have one simple option currently, which is enable or disable the upsells. Again, it's one of those things, it's entirely up to you whether you want to enable those. It does have a proven track record of increasing sales, so it is useful if you think it's going to benefit you. If we jump back out though and take a look at the checkout page, you can see we've got a little bit more control over what can happen. We can change it from the default way that WooCommerce deals with the checkout, which is one entire page that has everything on it, and we can set it to be two-step checkout. If we enable that, we won't see anything at the moment because we're not looking at the checkout page, but if I click on Publish, jump over to our test site, and we'll add this product to our basket. You can see that adds it to the basket. We just need to now go and take a look. So let's go and view our basket. And you can see I got a couple of products in there already. So once I click to proceed to the checkout, this is going to take us through, and you can see we now have a much more simplified, streamlined checkout process with a little meter at the top that says how far through the process we are. And you can see it just gives us, or gives the end user, a nice simple layout without all the distractions of the elements that you have with the default layout. So that's pretty cool. Now if we jump back in, you can see we've got some other options in here. We've got display order note, display apply coupon field, distraction-free checkout, labels and placeholders, and persistent checkout form data. We've also got the option for checkout form width. Now, if we jump back over, you can see this kind of takes up a lot of space, and when you look at it on a desktop, it just looks a little bit awkward. So let's come back in and just choose to have enter width. And let's set that to be something a little bit less unwieldy, maybe about 900 pixels, and publish that. And we'll see we now get a simpler looking, more streamlined, more centralized and smaller looking checkout process, which just looks a little bit better. But we can take it one step further. Let's say that we don't have coupon codes. Let's say we want to get rid of some of the distractions, the things like the navigation, the footer area, to give it an incredibly simple, streamlined layout. Well, we can do that too. If we choose distraction free, and we also say uncheck the display apply coupon and display order note, get rid of those. So we've now got a much simpler looking interface with the two-step checkout and distraction free. We'll also say let's use persistent checkout form data, so it'll save that, or it'll store that information. So it means that if your page reloads or there's accidentally a problem, that data will still be placed in there. So it stops the end user getting frustrated and clicking away because they've had a problem and they've got to go through the process of putting all their data back in. Publish that again, jump back over to the page and refresh. And you can see we now get an incredibly simple, straightforward checkout page. It'll have the link to our main site at the top with our logo, tells us about the checkout, gives us the information to say run a two-step. We've got two stages to this. A nice simple layout, proceed to payment, and gets rid of any of that clutter that you might not actually want. So again, really easy to come in and customize the look of your store checkout pages with Astra. Right, so before we wrap this up, there's one more thing I want to show you, and that is how we can use this filter and how we can assign what is actually displayed in there. So let's just jump back in, and we're going to come out of the customizer now. We're going to go back into the normal dashboard for WordPress, come down to appearance, and we're going to come into widgets. Now once we go to the widget section, we take a look on the right hand side. There's all the different areas we can place widgets. If you're unsure what a widget is when it comes to WordPress, they're basically different modules, different tools that we can place in various different pages and not have to go through the process of dealing with any coding. So things along the lines of custom menus, your basket, a calendar, a sort of tag field, all these different things that we can place in various different parts of your site. And if you take a look on the right hand side, you can see there's all the different widget areas we can place those in. What we're looking for is the off canvas filter. If we expand that out, you'll see nothing is actually displayed in there at the moment. But it says the sidebar will show product filters in the shop page. Uncheck disable off canvas option, the customizer layout in WooCommerce shop to enable on the shop page. Well, we've done all that, so everything is in place now to be able to just put what we want in there. So let's just close these up so we can just make a little bit of space. Now you can see there are tons of different options on here. Lots of different things to do with site origin, which are the developers of Astra, but also there's lots of different things that are specific to either WooCommerce or the actual WordPress itself. So you've got things like filter products by attributes, by price, by rating, and so on. Well, let's just drop those in there. Let's just say we want to filter product by price. So we'll drop that up in there. That opens up and allows us to go in and customize any sort of options that are available for that particular widget. You can see with this example, it's only the option to control the title. So we'll leave that as is. We'll come down and we'll say, we'll drag in and put the product categories in there, and we'll put that the top, and you can see again we've got a range of different options in there for how we want to display that information. We'll leave the default for now. It's more a case of showing you how to do this. And finally, we'll just drop a search in there, so we can just say we'll have a product search, so people can search through and find the exact products they want. And we'll just put a title of product search and click save. Okay, so we've now created that custom off canvas filter. So let's refresh our page. Click the filter option, and you can see now we've got the option to go through and filter by price, the different categories go in there, search our products, all within that particular off-screen filter, and we can just put whatever we want in there to make searching and finding products on our site so much easier. And there we go. That's pretty much what I wanted to show you, how you can easily use the Astra theme and the options that are available to go in and customize the way that your WooCommerce shop pages, your checkout pages, all the different aspects of working with your WooCommerce store, how easy it is to change and customize those. I hope you found the video useful. If you did, please give it a like, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell icon to be notified every single time we upload new content. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider using the affiliate links in the description below. Costs you no more money to use them, but it does give a small percentage back for all the sales come back to our channel and help us create more content for you. If you have comments, questions, or feedback on this video, or anything you'd like to see covered in future videos, please pop those in the comment section below. And until next time, take care.